convex set. And if you are you might have already seen somewhere in robot, if you try to uh, decide robot motion planning, then what you do, what is the main intention, how robot will work? Definitely it will work in such a way. First you have to, that robot has to find obstacle. An obstacle always, generally for the simplicity, we always assume happens to be stationary in nature, but robot is having walkable capacity. And then if I ask, how can we solve this problem? That means how can we avoid collision with obstacle, collision of robot with obstacle? Then it is simply a finding sum of two convex sum set, two convex set. One convex set that we will get from convex hull of robot. Robot definitely, if robot, and you can see yourself as a robot. Then if you try to see yourself, you are not a convex body. So how can you get a convex body, or how can you get a convex hull? So you have to do a convex combination. In that process, you will get a convex hull. And convex hull always happens to be a convex set. Similarly, obstacle might be anything. It may be non-convex or convex. So what you do, first try to find a convex hull of that obstacle as well. Now after that, what you do a Minkowski sum. Minkowski sum, actually, here, collision avoiding problem, it is talking about Minkowski difference. Minkowski difference of two set is itself a Minkowski sum. So here, during the definition of Minkowski sum, what you do, you need a negative of convex set. Negative of convex set, that we can also call it the negative of convex set, happens to be reflection with respect to origin. So those things, negative of convex set, in order to define, you need to know two things. One is extreme direction, another one is dual cone. So those things are just consequences of separating hyperplane theorem, separation theorem. I will talk later. So in that regard, separation theorem is playing very important role in machine learning, in robotic, also in control theory, many field, manywhere. I will come with only few example. Other example, you can Google it out. You will get a lot of example here. So today I am going to share my today's slide. That's a slide, and you will see a lot of motivation here. Are you able to see the slide? Anyone respond?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then I'm moving forward. So I have already taken one image in the very first title slide, that it is talking about separation of two convex set. That one convex set, here you can observe that is the one convex set. Another convex set is line C, line segment C, not line. We have to be very specific which is line segment and which is line. So here line segment, line segment always happens to be a finite convex set. And simply this one P is a polyhedral. Also it is a it happens to be a bounded. It is a polytope. So it happens to be a bounded polyhedral, and we are getting a line. This is the line which separate these two convex set. And due to convexity, we are able to separate it out. And we always need a separating hyperplane. So how can we define a separating hyperplane? We always need a normal vector. Would be need it, and separating hyperplane we can define in terms of normal vector like this way: A transpose X equal to B. A happens to be normal to the plane, and B is what? B I will talk. If I will talk, it would play support of one of the two given convex set. So we will call it support in the particular direction. So we are coming to outline of today's lecture. First, I would like to discuss about separating hyperplane. Then I would like to discuss about, after that, a special case of separation theorem for a point and a convex set, which separate a point with a convex set. Point is always happens to be a bounded and compact set, you can call it. And there would be several variant of this separation theorem. We will talk about the other variant as well. And if time permit, then I will go to discuss about application of separation theorem. Like I will introduce supporting hyperplane. Supporting hyperplane is a very important part of application of separation theorem. And another one is dual cone. Dual cone. And after that, I will introduce extreme direction. So here supporting is one very important application of separation theorem as well. And if I am asking that what is a optimality condition of any convex optimization problem, it is just about finding a separating hyperplane, supporting hyperplane, finding a supporting hyperplane. So supporting hyperplane there, it will play a very important role. So supporting hyperplane is just a special case of separating hyperplane. Then time permit, then I will go it to discuss dual cone. Otherwise, I will discuss in next class. So coming to separating hyperplane, what is separating hyperplane and how we can construct? So I will first talk about construction. So separating hyperplane, it is talking about it is a hyperplane algebraic equation like that x such that A transpose x equal to B, and A we are calling it normal vector and B is the bias, or how much it is away from origin in the direction of normal, you can call it. So and if you want to write this hyperplane as a affine function, you can write it like A transpose x minus B. So which separate any two, a hyperplane which separate any two disjoint. Remember that we right now we will learn how to separate disjoint convex set. So do two disjoint set C and D. If it separate, that means separation of two disjoint set C and D by hyperplane means there exists a normal direction A and a scalar bias B such that all the element of one set C lies in the lower half a space. This one is talking about lower half a space, and element of another set D, it is lying in the upper half a space with respect to hyperplane. So it brings a trichotomy of the complete trichotomy of a space. So here you can observe that you are having one set C, another set D, both are disjoint. Don't see right now convexity. Just right now I'm just discussing about separating hyperplane. So we can always get a separating hyperplane. This is the separating hyperplane. So where we observe so greater than equal to it is talking about we are moving in the direction of normal of the supporting hyperplane. So D is in the direction of supporting normal to the supporting hyperplane. That means B is in the upper half a space, and the set C is in the lower half a space. We can say this. So this is there is a complete separation. That's where uh, this is very important to find. This hyperplane is very important to find. How we can find? So we will have a given two things. So one thing we will have a set C D and another set C. So these two are given thing. Apart from that, we may have some property of D and C. One important property would be there. Intersection of C and D is phi. That both are disjoint. So these two are given thing. Then how can we construct? Sorry. So it is all about construction of a hyperplane. How we can construct hyperplane. So that construction I will talk in next slide. The two given thing. So how can we construct? So what we do, we need to define a metric or distance between given two sets. So how can we define it? So by using this definition, we have to find infimum of norm where x is difference of norm, where x is coming from one set C and y is coming from another set D. And remember, both are disjoint. So we will try to find infimum. So this one is a convex optimization problem. Here it is a norm. So always it would be a convex optimization problem. Remember that provided C and D are convex, then definitely it will be a convex optimization problem. Now, so through this definition, it is one just Euclidean norm kind of definition. So after minimizing, it is an optimization problem. After minimizing, you will get this kind of a structure. Like this, we will get two important points. One point we will get here in C here, another point we will get in D. So these two, so we will call it D is the minimize closest point with respect to C. You can call it D is the closest point with respect to C, and C is the closest point with respect to D. So you can call it D is the closest point with respect to C. Closest point with respect to C. Similarly, you can call it C is the closest point with respect to D. It is very much well-known optimization problem. You can always find here through gradient descent or any optimization algorithm, always you can find. So you got these 2 points C and D. Now find a perpendicular bisector. So then find a line. So simply, what is A? So A will give direction of the normal to the hyperplane. A is simply, you can call it D minus C. You got D and C, so define A by D minus C. This is your normal direction to the hyperplane. So with respect to this vector, by treat as normal and define a hyperplane. So you got your hyperplane. It is all about idea of constructing a hyperplane. So now, if you suppose we are having a point and a convex sheet, then how can we construct a hyperplane? So it is very simple. Again, here in this case, what we do, all about construction of separating hyperplane. You have to find two things. One is normal to the separating hyperplane. Another one is bias. So these two are very important. These two are very important. These two we have to find. In last case, I didn't write it here. Okay, I have written. And what is B? B is nothing here. Just you can look into this picture. B is passing through perpendicular. It is a bisector. It is midpoint of C minus D. This. So simply you can define B bias. It would be like this way. Norm of D minus C L2 norm. Generally take L2 norm, like Euclidean norm. Divide by, take midpoint. So take this one. This one is your bias. Appropriate optimal bias. I am talking about optimal bias. There might be infinitely many bias, but whenever I will talk about bias, we have to talk in optimal sense. Always in optimal sense. So this is optimal bias. So you got both A, that means normal to the separating hyperplane, normal of separating hyperplane, and bias of the separating hyperplane. Similarly, if you are coming to define a separating hyperplane or construct a separating hyperplane for the case of a point and a convex set, then what you do? You do similar same thing. It becomes a very simple kind of find the distance of the given set with respect to the given point. This is the given point. It is not in the set C, and C is a convex set, closed convex set. Remember that it is already mentioned, it is closed and convex set. So here what we do, so again we find a point in C which is the closest to X. So this point, name of this point, because X is given a single point, so it is a closest to C, we call it X bar. So X bar is the closest point in C, which is with respect to X. So here you will get definitely, it is very much obvious through this definition, distance of a point with respect to set, you can get this point X bar. Once you got X bar, you can define several separating hyperplane, several. So one of this one, so you already got a uh, closest point in C with respect to X. So what is your A? That means normal to the supporting hyperplane, normal of the supporting hyperplane, it would be, you can define it X minus X transpose. This is the A. And what is B? B, I will talk it later here. B easily you can define with the help of one term, that is support of C, with the help of support of C in the direction of A. Once you got A, with the help of A, also you can define B. It is all about finding A. A is main thing. So A transpose Y, and Y is coming from C. So what you do, here it says that take all, project every element of C in the direction of A. This is the direction of A. So you got A. This is the direction of A, and somewhere there may be somewhere origin. I don't know where it would be. It would be definitely there would be somewhere origin. If you are studying, you know about coordinate geometry, definitely there would be some reference point. So what you do in this direction, this is the direction of A. So project all the element of A, and after projection, find the find the element which is having maximum direction, maximum projection in the direction of A. So definitely if the graph from graph you can look into, so in this direction A, this point X bar will have maximum direction. So your B would be simply A transpose X bar. A transpose X bar. So this is the value of B. So you have already got X bar by solving this optimization problem. You got after once you got X bar, you can define A. After getting A, you can define B. So everything you got. That means you got your desired hyperplane, separating hyperplane. It is talking about construction. So X A transpose X equal to B is the desired supporting hyperplane. I should write it Y, because X I have taken given point which is not in state C. So I am writing, for simplicity, I am writing A transpose Y equal to B. This is your desired hyperplane. It is all about construction of separating hyperplane. If you have any problem, any issue, you can ask. Otherwise, you need to know what is the algorithm, how to find separating hyperplane. It is very much essential in cortex optimization to find separating hyperplane. Once we know about construction of separating hyperplane, I will talk about two important theorems. First theorem, it is talking about separation of a point with a closed convex sheet. So we are having one given point. That point is not in the closed convex set. It is out of the closed convex set. Then how can you find a separating hyperplane for these two? So it is a theorem. So it says that if suppose S is a closed convex set in Euclidean space Rn, and Y is another point in Rn which is not in S, then definitely there exists a normal direction A such that, so it is inner product. Another name of inner product in linear algebra, I might have already discussed another name of inner product. You can also define it as a projection as well. So A transpose X, you can call it A inner product of A and X. You can call it A transpose X. So it is linear algebra approach, complete matrix, and because in linear algebra we are dealing in matrix and vector and matrix. So that's why we always write in term of matrix or vector. So it is linear algebra way to define inner product. So simply I would like to say that inner product of A with X would be always less than with inner product of A with Y. Y the given point which is not in S for every X in S. For every X. So this inequality holds for every X in the given closed convex set S. So this is the criteria. So we got a separation. So here it is all about, if I try to interpret in more visualization way, we can say that for given Y, there exists an optimal point or minimizer X bar in S. X bar in S, which would be closest point in S to Y. The closest point. Remember that closest point. Later, I will turn X bar as a projection of Y on S. So projection. Projection you have also already seen in linear algebra. So later you can call this X bar as a projection. So for given Y, there exists a X bar which is in S closest to Y, and we have to argue that inner product of Y minus X bar with X minus X bar is less than equal to 4. This condition we are calling it optimality condition of the corresponding optimization problem, and it gives a hyper. All these are just mathematical. When you do geometry, then things will be very easy. Or anything having geometry, I will give geometry as well. So no worry. So it is talking about talking about that it gives hyperplane A transpose X equal to B with you can ask your question directly by voice, because to see your comment, I have to go to again another Google Meet. I have to go away from, so that's why right now I don't want to go away. So here A transpose X equal to B, where B you can call it, it is the support of S in the direction of A. And what is A? A is Y minus X bar. That means difference between given vector Y with its closest point in S. Okay, and bias is already defined here. This is the bias A transpose X bar. So you are getting all those things. So here you can I would like to explain everything here. So here Y is given, it is not in and S is given. S is a closed convex set. So this is the closed convex set. Y is not in S. So what we do? So first we will find a point in S which is closest to Y. That point we are calling it X bar. Okay. After that, we will define A, which would be Y minus X bar. That means once you got X bar, consider X bar as your new reference point. So this vector you can call it A vector. So A is Y minus X bar, and another vector, this vector, take any arbitrary point in S. Then here, at this point, you can denote it by X minus X bar, because your X bar closest point in S with respect to Y is your new reference point. Then you can easily see that if you see the angle between these two, then it is forming obtuse angle. So simply it says that if you take dot product between X minus X bar and Y minus X bar, then what would be dot product? Dot product, if angle between the factor happens to be greater than 90, then dot product would be what? It would be definitely negative, less than equal to 0. So dot product between X minus X bar, that we are calling it normal vector A, with any arbitrary vector X minus X bar in S. Remember, X minus X bar, it is in the set S. So angle between these two are greater than 90, is greater than 90. So dot product definitely it would be less than 0. Less than equal to 0. So it is all about optimality condition. Okay. Now it is all about, now here I would like to ask how X bar, the X bar in last case, we have to talk about it must be uniquely defined. It is not like there would be more than one X bar. So if it is a convex set, then X bar would be uniquely defined. If the given set happens to be non-convex, then X bar may not be unique. Maybe more than one X will get. So here let X be any arbitrary element from the given convex set S. Then with respect to this X, we are defining a new set Z. I would like to give you a picture here. So I'm doing like this way. So this Y is already given. Take any arbitrary point X. Okay. Then after that, define a set Z. This is the set. This region is the set Z, where you can, if you observe that if you take any point from this set Z, what will happen? Norm of this, or simply you can call it distance of Z with respect to Y. Definitely, it would be less than equal to distance of X with respect to Y. How? It is already obvious from plot. it would be always less than, because you're taking you are assuming y as a center, and then after drawing a disk with radius x minus norm of x minus, like this way, so with this radius. So if you see intersection of this disk with given set S, so this set Z is talking about here. Z where norm of J, this one Z minus Y, it would be always less than equal to this quantity. Here if you take any point Z, so definitely this is the Z. So definitely this length would be less than this length, radius of this disk. So it would be less than. So that's way. So we are getting S. So this S happens to be a compact set. Compact means closed and bounded set. It is compact is not a difficult kind of concept. If you are taking a close interval, a bounded interval, close and bounded interval in R, so it is similar to close interval kind of things in R, or a disk kind of things, closed disk. If you take a closed disk, then closed disk is a compact set. So what is happening? If you are taking a compact set and define a function, this function with respect to norm, then a compact set is always having a minimizer in the given set, in compact set. So it will always, there it is talking about existence of minimizer. It is always true. This theorem we are calling it Weierstrass theorem. You don't have to look into that theorem. So simply say, it says that this one is having a minimizer. That means x bar is having. So here definitely x bar, where it will exist x bar. So in the convex case, x bar will exist here. So here definitely, so it is talking about existence of x bar. So we are having, it is very much certain that we are having x bar. So once we come to now, we are having x bar. Can you prove that it is unique? So definitely, using little bit mathematical manipulation, you can easily prove that this x bar would be unique, provided if given set S is convex. So uniqueness will be followed from convex. It is similar that what I had mentioned, that if you are defining a convex problem over a convex set, then minimum of that convex optimization problem will be always unique. So uniqueness is followed from convexity of the problem. So that's why you will get unique x bar here. Next condition is optimality condition. That means this is the optimality. That means the x bar is the closest point in S with respect to Y. So that is the, so this is the optimality condition. So again, scenario is same. You have to take this would be A, define Y minus x bar consider as a reference, new reference point, and define, take any arbitrary point x, and define that position vector of that point with respect to new reference point x bar, and you can observe that angle between these two are greater than 90 degrees. So that's where dot product between y minus x bar and x minus x bar, it would be less than 0. This condition we are calling it optimality condition. So I have just given a visualization of that optimality condition for separating finding a separating hyperplane. Now we are coming to discuss about separation of two disjoint states. It is really interesting, but interesting in the sense that it is not a complicated. Actually, actual theorem is talking about separation of a point with closed convex set, and this one is, you can call it, it is one of the special case of the last case. How we can convert this problem into last problem? So how can we convert that? So here we are taking two set S1 and S2, both happens to be disjoint and closed convex set. Both are disjoint and happens to be closed convex set, and one of them it is bounded. So we consider that S2 is bounded. So bounded is nothing; it is just talking about existence of minimum. So due to boundaries, the minimum we will get that x bar kind of things we will get in the set itself. So that's where boundedness is coming here. So what we will claim that there exists a normal vector A such that if you take supremum, simply call it support of S1. Support of S1 would be less than this support of Z in the direction of A. It would be less than. So there is a complete bifurcation. Complete bifurcation of points. One point is coming in, and these are coming in the left point of S1 coming in the left hyperspace, lower hyperspace, and point of S2 is coming in the upper hyperspace. So complete separation is there. So first criteria that how to find this one in construction I had already mentioned. So here picture you can observe the same picture I had taken. So apply same distance concept, align these 2 points, then get A. A is nothing just it is D minus C. That means C is your new reference point. Then you are defining A. And after that you can define bias B. You can use the supporting hyperplane as well. Okay, so if we need to prove our last theorem. So in order to prove last theorem, what we have to do, we have to define S1 minus S2. So it is not a simple kind of difference of two set. It is talking about the difference of two convex set. So it is Minkowski kind of this difference. What I had mentioned that if you are going to find uh, robot tracking motion or robot motion planning, then what you have to do, you have to convert that is detection of obstacle is just about dealing with Minkowski difference of two convex set, detection of obstacles. So it is all about that. So if a little bit I will talk about Minkowski difference or Minkowski. Before that, you need to understand Minkowski sum. So what is the Minkowski difference? So in order to understand Minkowski difference, first you need to understand what is the negative of a set. Suppose you are having a set like this way. This vertical bar is your set. So call this set A. This is your vertical bar, a set A. So how can you find negative of this set? So to find negative of this set, you first do what you find extreme direction of this set. So there are two extreme direction. One extreme direction, it is this one is the along x1 axis is the one extreme direction. So call it D1. There are infinitely many directions, but we have to find extreme direction. And another extreme direction is this. Call it D2. Now, remember that it is way to find negative of a set or reflection of a set with respect to origin. Now, take negative, find the negative extreme direction. So this one is, what would be this one? This one would be minus D2. And what would be this negative extreme direction? It would be minus D1. After that, find the closest point of the given set A with respect to origin. So this is the closest point. So find the negative of that. So negative will come here. Then the similar process, find the negative of this point. So now draw this. You can observe that this set is also between these two extreme direction, minus D1 and minus D2. So what is the name of this set? You can call it, this is the negative A. Another name of this one, you can call it negative A. It is a reflection of A with origin. Reflection of, you can call it reflection. Reflection of A with respect to origin. It is already way to find reflection. Now I'm coming to define this difference concept. So if suppose we are having S1 is one set plus time negative of S2. That means in the similar fashion, the negative of S2 is what? Reflection of S2 with respect to origin. And you can find that with the help of extreme direction. One more non-trivial example you can say, take like this. Suppose this kind of set is it is given set A, or call it B. So what is the negative of this one? How can you find? So first find extreme direction 1, this This is the one extreme direction. This is the another extreme direction, and just take negative of the extreme direction, negative A, like this way. So this would be negative of B. It would be negative of A. So this is the algorithm to find a negative of a set, and then do Minkowski sum. So Minkowski sum. What is meaning of Minkowski sum? I'm not going in detail. You have to Google it out. You will get a lot of example of Minkowski sum. Just I'm giving example. Suppose you are taking two line. Both are perpendicular to each other. One line is this one, another line is this. So if I'm asking to find, call it L1, line 1, and this one is line 2. If I'm asking to find what is the sum of these two, what would be sum? Sum of these two lines, it would be a square. This is the sum of these two lines. If you take this kind of shape, you have to be very attentive. Triangle, take a triangle or take a line segment. This is the line segment. If I'm asking what is the sum of these two, sum of these two would be sum of these two. So sum would be, it's fine going like this way, then going like this, then like this. This quadrilateral, it is the sum of these two. Triangle, sum of this triangle and sum of this line. Similarly, if you take this kind of a structure, the structure is very important. You can look into the transformation. You can observe that it is coming to here. For polyhedral or polytop, things are looks very simple, and this side is coming to here. But if you go for regular structure, things would be complicated. And this side is coming here. You can observe here, and this side is coming here. So it is one kind of technique you need to understand. So remember that this one is also, it is a triangle. That means I'm talking about this simplex kind of a structure. It is a that means convex structure I'm talking. Line segment also happens to be convex structure. So we are getting a convex set. Sum of two convex set. Minkowski sum of two convex set is always happens to be convex set. So if you are very much interested in robotics, you have to recall what is the difference or sum of two set. Convex set. Convex set is being very important, because why convex set? Convex set is having optimal complexity. Here, how many what is you observe like this way? What would be complexity of this one? How many what is it you observe? So you observe three vertices are there in line. How many vertices are there? Two vertices are there. One is this one, another is this one. So like this way. So what would be number of vertices? Maximum vertices. So maximum. So you can call it complexity of this one is 3, and complexity of line is, complexity of triangle is 3, and complexity of line is 2. And what would be resultant complexity of this quadrilateral? It would be 3 plus maximum. It would be bounded. Complexity is bounded above by 2. So this one we are calling it best case scenario, optimal scenario. So it is happening in convex pattern. But if you're summing to non-convex set, then your complexity would be worst case. That means it would be m into n, or it would be m square n square something kind. So that one is Ross scenario. So we never look for non-convex dealing with motion of robotics. You have to always first define a convex hull around the robot and convex hull around the obstacle, and then go further to find the all the region in which the robot will walk freely, or robot will avoid collision with the obstacle. So that kind of scenario you can get as a application of Minkowski sum. So here this one is the Minkowski sum, or this one is sum is a special case of difference is a special case of sum. So you can call it you know everything about sum, and definitely difference easily you can know about that. So you define this set S1 minus S2, and I had already taken condition that S1 and S2 both happens to be convex. So due to that nature, this Minkowski sum or difference both preserve convexity. So this S1 minus S2 set, it will be again a convex set. So now we are having a single convex set And also we know that S1 and S2 are disjoint. So what will happen? 0 definitely it would be not in S11. 0 will not be in S1 minus S2. 0 doesn't belong to S1 minus S2. So it becomes what? It becomes like this one. We are having a convex set. Name of this set is S1 minus S2, and we are having a point which is not in convex set, 0. 0 is not in convex set. So find a separating hyperplane with. So first we will find a closest point in S1 minus S2 with respect to origin, and that point we will call it with respect to that we will define A, that we will call it 0 minus x bar, call it x bar. This point x bar, 0 minus x bar, and then define by considering that as a normal to the hyperplane, define a hyperplane passing through x bar, and this is your desired separating hyperplane. This is the desired separating hyperplane, that you can call it A transpose x equal to B. You can get it. It is similar to last case. You will get it. Okay. So this condition, I have already sent this slide as well, so you can look into that as well. Now there is one more scenario. Here I am taking separation of two disjoint convex set. Here closed condition I am not taking it here, so it won't affect much closed condition. So in that case also we can find a separating hyperplane. So this is the example of that scenario. You can observe that this set is not a it is so we can take it it is not a closed set, and also there are two more criteria. And last is you can take closed set, both are closed set, but here both set happens to be unbounded. Here both set are not bounded. Here last case in theorem we had mentioned that S2 was bounded. Here both sets C and D both are unbounded set. So what will happen? Here we will not get minimum kind of criteria, we will get infimum kind of criteria. Supremum and infimum would be here, unbounded kind of nature. Here both are unbounded. So there are different scenarios. I think we are already about to finish 45 minutes. So regarding attendance, go and mark your attendance there in Google Classroom. And other things I will discuss in next class. So next class I will start with separating supporting hyperplane and application of separating hyperplane in dual cone, finding dual cone. Any question? Anyone willing to ask any question? You are welcome. Regarding attendance, I told that go and mark your attendance there in Google Classroom.